What's up all you lads and ladies? Welcome to another fascinating video in the world of Reddit. If you liked the video, post your favorite Reddit comment below, and I'll give you a shout out in my next video. Thanks to Mr. Panda Plays, my #1 fan in my last video, who commented that my last video was a nice video. How very creative of him. Hope you enjoy this video about signs to tell if someone wasn't raised correctly, whatever the bloody hell that means. What's a sign that somebody wasn't raised right? Lack of personal accountability. They can never admit wrongdoing on their part. It's always someone else's fault. Yes, totally. And it's often because immature parents don't realize they should model this behavior by apologizing to their children when they, parent, do something wrong. When you don't respect your kids, they can become disrespectful dongs. You give them a lift and they leave rubbish in your car. I forgot my candies and trash in a carpool 6 years ago and I still remember it. The driver rushed us out because he made a mistake, to be fair, but my freaking brain won't forget it. This kind of stunned me as a driver for Lyft and Uber. I'd never dream of leaving my trash in a cab or someone else's car. Who are the guys who spit out their chewing gum into urinals? I see this all the time at work, and I work in a high-end corporate place. Do they think it dissolves and goes down the pipe? The janitor has to pick that out. I had a guy it on the floor in the bathroom at my work, then apologize because I was working the shift, not my co-worker he hated. People are freaking weird, dude. I worked at a truck stop with 3 bathrooms, a men's, a women's, and a unique single one in the trucker lounge. The stall in the men's was out of service because people don't understand what a reasonable amount of toilet paper is. Guy comes in, truck bathroom is occupied. Goes to men's, stall out of service. Do you A. wait for the trucker room? B. just go to the women's, which is also just a single room and isn't used much? C. eat in the urinal, then come out and complain that I should lose my job because the stall is out of order? C. It's always C. How they act as a boss when their employee messes up. Yelling and belittling shouldn't be your first option. This was what made me respect the absolute hell out of my manager. I made a mistake on a job a while back, like a big frick up that cost us a large sum of money. I was fully expecting to get chewed out, and you frick up again, you're out the door, because that's how previous managers had treated us. It's no wonder we had a horrific management and employee turnover rate for years. But no, he came over to the car I was working on, looked at what happened, figured out how the mistake was made, and we talked about it for a couple minutes. I was pretty upset about it, because I'm usually not the type of tech who is negligent and makes mistakes, so when I do, it profoundly bothers me. He saw that. He listened to what I said, and he went through the process of getting replacement parts ordered for what I messed up. The next morning he came to me again and said, you know, I was thinking about you last night after I got home and thinking of what you could do to prevent this mistake from happening again in the future. Gave me a few suggestions for the future, and closed the conversation with a pat on the shoulder and a "we won't need to have this conversation again. Brother, I trust you." It was the most meaningful conversation I have ever had with a manager. I got the sense that he really wants to see his employees succeed and grow. It gave me confidence in a moment in which I had none left. This is how you be a leader, not a boss. A leader lends a helping hand and treats you like an equal. A boss treats you like a replaceable piece of meat. Best boss I ever had, and like a second father to me. Gave me the golden rule that I use as a boss now. Praise in public, correct. Criticize in private. If they make messes in public areas and just wander off, leaving trash in the theater, not flushing, leaving the cart in a parking space, working in a theater, I can tell you a good number of people treat the place as their personal dumping ground. And that's apart from the people who make big messes and just skedaddle. I'm talking people who spill their XXL soda and just walk out. I've had the pleasure of walking into a theater and finding 3 separate pools of vomit. Like what the frick, people, honestly. The concept of not flushing in a public place is crazy to me. Like, what happened in that person's life for them to feel that's appropriate? Or the mysterious people who smear it on the walls in Walmart bathrooms? Who hurt them? I will. Disrespecting people for doing their job. I worked at an office supply company while I was in college. Let's call it paperclips. I had a full-time position, inventory specialist, on top of going to school full-time, and I was going through a bit of a rough patch. During back to school in late September, this little girl comes in escorted by what I can only describe as an alpha Karen. The kid started pouting and saying she didn't want to go back to school. I was busy running my cycle count report when AK pointed at me and said something along the lines of, if you don't go to school you'll end up working at paperclips like this guy. Oh, that made me mad. I don't remember exactly what I said in response, but it went essentially like, ma'am, I graduate in 3 months from university less than 1 mile from paperclips, and have a job lined up at local hospital. I hope she works here or at McDoodle's, so maybe she'll learn the respect you didn't teach her. Not nearly as elegant or eloquent at the time, but you get it. The only time I've ever been written up for a customer interaction, and I don't regret it. Yes, manager, I have a complaint. This employee defended herself when I was being incredibly rude and I demand you fire her. What a bitch. He was embarrassed when she started crying. She was only a teenager. Rather than apologize, he just sneered at her. For frick's sake, don't take it so personally. She replied that, I don't know how else you expect me to take personal abuse. He complained that she was rude. She was fired. Piss weak boss for not backing up his staff. One day I hope we outgrow the customer is always right BS that festers within our culture. One rule for me, one rule for you. Parents that mess up on the discipline, accountability stage of parenting produce these people. Rules for thee, but not for me. Do as I say, not as I do. How they treat people from whom they have nothing to gain. Retail will tell you about 75% of people exhibit this sign. I worked in retail. It's more like 20% in my experience, but you remember those more on a bad day. I'd say 10% are arseholes 24/7, and 70% are one bad day away from screaming at some random teenager whenever they feel inconvenienced and never feeling guilty about it. My dad is in that 70% for sure. He once yelled at a random guy and told him to tell his wife not to speak to him, because she asked him to calm down after yelling at the pool Chinese woman at Panda Express. I will never go into that building with him. The word no just means throw a fit and be as obnoxious as you can be until you get your way. No does not mean that rules are rules or someone's job might be on the line. They're the important one, not anyone else. I'm an overnight, 10 PM to 6 AM. Manager in fast food. After midnight our menu changes slightly so that we don't do certain items and the loose change menu isn't in effect. All of this is in the ads for such items, mind you. But when I tell someone, sorry man, can't do that for that price at this time, because the register automatically switches over at midnight, there's literally nothing I can do. People have a freaking fit. I've had people break windows, pull out a metal bat from passenger seats and threaten me. People report me, spit at me. Freaking children, all of them. We also close the store and go drive through only after 11 PM. Because it's just me and one other guy and we can't keep an eye on the whole store by ourselves. We also aren't allowed to accept people walking up to the window because of our insurance. It's much easier for them to reach us in the register, etc. The amount of times I say no to people and they get angry and threaten me, like, you going crazy, is exactly the reason we don't accept walkers. Even had 2 dudes try read my name badge, asked when I finish and what my address was. People get so riled over a bloody Big Mac. They don't have manners or respect anyone. They never see what they do wrong. Are the old I only give respect if it's earned, so I'm gonna be rude to the world, and if it's rude back they are the assholes. Gotta love those talks with people. Not respecting personal boundaries. If you're wondering why someone has these sorts of issues, take a look at their parents. Dear God, I used to be friends with a guy who was like this. I made the mistake of talking him through some difficult things and he took that to mean that I wanted him present 24/7. He'd see that I was hanging out with somebody else and then text me bugging me to ditch that person and hang with him instead, because he was sad and lonely. I understand not wanting to be sad and lonely, but you can't make me ditch all my other friendships to fix that. I had a friend who got creepy clingy like that. It got to the point that he followed my Snap Map location to where I was with some friends. They didn't know each other and demanding I hang out with him instead. Gross. Why not block your location? I've never understood why that feature exists in the first place. I ended up turning it off after that. I don't get why it's there either. Stalkery reasons. I will say it was satisfying to hear of people being caught cheating when the feature first came out. But yeah, other than that, no good reason. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell like it owes you money. Remember to post your favorite Reddit comment from the video for a chance to be featured in my next video. I hope you enjoyed this fantastic video about life advice. Show a small channel some love by liking and subscribing. Take care. Pip pip cheerio. Much love from me, Matt British.